Uh, I would like to tell you a few words about our publications partnership program, Smart School. If you want to bring a new opportunities to your school and to your students, you may join this partnership program. And your school will get Publications Award. So this red award with the name of your school. Then we equip teachers with extra interactive materials for Publications textbooks, such as audio, interactive whiteboard material, and today we are going to talk about this a little bit more, and teachers resource pack. We provide methodological support for teachers using Publications textbooks. You will also receive a set of textbooks for library use. And we help to sign up on ELT platform and online tests. You can participate in the annual Smart School Conference and to share your experience and to connect with other Smart School teachers and to participate in this conference, not just like a participant, but as a speaker. We also invite you to join our Smart School Teachers Network on Telegram. Again, there you stay informed. You may ask questions, and here you get support from other partners. And we provide language proficiency assessment materials. So just for you to assess your own English language proficiency, and you set your personal goals and you track your progress over some period of time. We also provide methodological support for organizing extracurricular activities and summer language camps at the request of your school. And we display the educational institution's name and your logo in the partners area on mmppublications.com.ua website, just for the rest teachers to get to know about you more, and there we will post some information about teachers who follow Publications motto, learn, share, inspire. And your school will obtain a special discount. Okay, so, and if you have some questions, if you need further details, you can contact me, and I will be very happy to answer all your questions. So here you can see my email address, Viktoriia.Kolesnyk@linguist.ua. You may jot it down. Okay. And speaking about today's day of the conference. So the first session is about project work, and we would like to find out more about projects and how we can implement them into school curricula. And then there will be a quick break. And after that, we are going to explore some additional online materials that you can use when teaching English with the new textbook Portal to English. And one more thing, speaking about your certificates, so you'll get them as usual within 3 working days. There will be the letter with the link, so you need to follow the link and fill in the feedback form, and after that you will be able to download your certificate. Okay, I guess this is it from me, and I just want to invite our first speaker, Christopher. Are you here with us?
Of course. Hello, Viktoriia. Thank you very much. Wonderful to have the opportunity to be conducting another webinar for Ukraine. I remember it was around this time last year also that we had this, we had the opportunity to greet each other to the new school year. So it's really wonderful for me to be given the opportunity to do this again with you. And so happy to see so many people attending, especially for this school year. My wish is for everyone to have a very fruitful, a very creative school year, and of course, feel great about the things that are set to come. So, shall I share my screen, my PowerPoint, in order to gradually begin the presentation?
Yes, please.
Thumbs up from you, Viktoriia. Thumbs up from everyone. I can assume, okay, I'm gonna jump to that conclusion, let's say, more or less. And yeah, the main idea is, well, I know that right now all of us, due to the pandemic, are a bit more experienced when it comes to webinars and all that. Well, there's so many of you here, so the way that we can interact during this session is going to be through the chat box, right? I'm going to be having a look at the chat box, of course, to any of the questions that you might be having, or for any of the questions that I might submit to you, looking for your answers there. So, hello, everyone. Actually, it's a funny thing because, I mean, for me, whenever I had this conversation yesterday with a friend of mine who happens to be also a colleague. So usually, I mean, like it is most of the people associate New Year resolutions with the new year, the coming of the new year that happens around January, let's say, right? In the beginning of January, in the beginning of the year. For me, I mean, like it works differently. I think that this is more or less the case with a lot of educators as well. The academic year is that period of time where we are taking into account a lot of the changes that we want to conduct. Maybe most of them are associated with the profession that we do, but at the same time, it does feel like after some vacation, a break, you know, from having taught the previous academic year, it feels like a great opportunity for a brand new start, because it's not also only about you starting the new school year, it's also about meeting more and more students, and of course, maybe taking into account some of the things that might work better for a classroom. So Publications has this role. I mean, like, this is the main idea behind the course books that we are delivering. The main idea is to treat the course book as a tool that you're going to be making use of in order to be able to exploit it in such a way that it can fit your classroom needs. I always say this, I will never stop saying, the teacher knows their students better than anyone else does. So, of course, the teacher who has got the proper tools to conduct their lessons is going to be much better equipped than a teacher who doesn't have those good tools. And Publications has those tools that we can offer in order to support your teaching, the role of the teacher, and of course, the role of the facilitator that you are in a classroom setting. Since it is secondary level that we're going to be focusing on right now, I'm going to be talking about mainly a component of our series and activities that are emphasizing to a great extent on how we can put into practice what it is that we have been talking about to such a great extent in theory, projects, right? We have been talking about the importance of everything that has to do with making use of the target language and being able to reinforce the practice of English in classroom setting and outside of the classroom setting. So how do we do that? We need, first of all, to have a mindset that reinforces the practice, first of all, in a classroom setting. But in order to do that, there needs to be a change of a mindset in order to be able to cultivate this approach, this philosophy. So have in mind that what we are going to be mainly focusing on has to do with how we can develop through activities that are titled, labeled as projects, the whole philosophy of making the students want to interact. Definitely, the generator of this must be the teacher. The teacher has the most important role to serve as a role model and actually try to take the students by the hand as to be motivated to interact in a classroom setting. Projects, if I were to label them now, if I were to, let's say, think of a way of defining them, then I could run into a couple of these definitions like these ones here. Now, I know there's too much wording here. I want you to emphasize, or actually I'm going to spotlight some key concept, words, sentences that make up these definitions. A theme, project work is a theme and task-centered mode of teaching and learning. It's a joint process of negotiation between all participants. Self-determined action for both the individual and the small group of learners, and providing that general framework that defines goals and procedures. Actually, if you are to think about it, it's all about what it is that we desire from students who are acquiring foreign language skills. We want them to make use of what it is that they have been introduced to. And the way to do it is going a bit more beyond than just the simple fill in the blank activities or transformation activities. So definitely we need to focus on how we can have our students work together, be able to have a conversation, and of course cultivate all these important skills that are becoming more important than ever, especially in this world where lots of things are Googleable and almost anything can be responded through AI, can find an answer. This means that we need to have those skills that are going to emphasize a bit more on the humanistic approach of what it is that students need to be equipped with in the modern world. So this now comes from John Dewey. John Dewey was actually a philosopher and a scholar in the States in the 20th century, in the first half of the 20th century, way back then. And way back then, he believed that the school must represent present life as a real and vital to the child as that which he carries on in the home, in the neighborhood, on the playground. How that means, in other words, how what is being taught in school can be generalized across different environments. So this is definitely something that might sound a bit contemporary, but it has been thought about way back like 200 years ago. So it's really interesting to see how this is still relevant, especially in our times right now. Thank you, Tatiana. your favorite philosopher, as you mentioned here. Hello from Odisha. Hello, everybody who is joining in. I'm having now and then a look at the chat box that you are talking about. Because, I mean, to a great extent, a lot of the teachers in the past, and some the teachers that taught us were focusing on this more traditional approach, chalk and talk, which meant that it could be depicted in an image like this one. This is an image that I always like to share. I share it with a lot of presentations just to suggest the contradiction. You can tell that, first of all, this teacher expresses some enthusiasm, but on the other hand, if that teacher turns their back and confronts what is going on in the class, we'll notice that that enthusiasm is not really generated across the classroom setting. So probably something is going wrong in this occasion. How is it that that enthusiasm can be shared with our students as well? And of course, this is why we have been talking about, to such a great extent, on the importance of those 21st century skills. You have heard a lot about them, and they are still relevant, and they are still very important, and they are responsible for why learning English has become synonymous to a great extent, the modern approach to learning English, with all these skills that need to be cultivated, not only focusing on the traditional approach of emphasizing on the vocabulary, memorizing the vocabulary, and memorizing by heart the rules of the grammar in order to practice. This would not really get us to what we want to achieve, especially when it comes to a more communicative approach. So more skills need to be cultivated that are emphasized through the skills that we just mentioned about. Actually, if I were to caption this image, I would say that a lot of these 21st century skills could caption this image. What is it that we see here in this specific picture if you were to caption this image from what has been listed in the 21st century skills? We see a lot. Definitely the students here are arranged in their classroom setting in such a way that it definitely favors communication, cooperation, right? Getting the students to interact. And of course, they are engaged into working on for a specific goal, a specific activity. And actually, the person who is standing seems to me like the teacher, who is more or less like a facilitator going around the tables and having a look at how the project is progressing through the activities like this one. And this is why project work is synonymous to a much more modern appeal to what the English language is all about. From a very early stage, with those drawings where we are giving students the opportunity to create something that depicts their interpretation of how they feel about their town. This is really wonderful because it is a stepping stone through creativity to communicate your way of thinking, the student's way of thinking. So it's always a benefit to be able to get the students to understand how they're going to be able to feel about what it is that they are learning by taking control of their learning, of what it is that they're learning. Because projects are not necessarily something new. I mean, like, we just did not just discover what projects are all about. Think about it this way. How was it considered to be having projects in the past? First of all, a lot of them seem to be like more or less those typical essays, compositions that we were writing, that were more or less like individual tasks. Also, they were like teacher-centered in the sense that the teacher would present us with a model, and then what is it that we would have to do in the past? After having a look at the model, doing a couple of activities that served like a scaffolding process in order to be able to work on a specific exercise, to be able to get ideas as to finish your composition. But also, it would be like something that would lack real world relevance, something that John Dewey was mentioning 20 years ago. Because, for example, yes, it is really important to learn how to write an informal letter to your friend talking about your holidays and all that. But rare is the case that this will be the activity that you will have to do, especially right now with all the media that we have available, in order to get into the process of describing through a letter or your holidays to a friend. So, of course, the main idea is to be able to see how what we are learning can be relevant and at the same time make connections with what is going on in real life. So, projects in the 21st century have a connection with what is going on in the real world, have to have a connection with how we learn nowadays than if we are to compare it with the past. They should be student-centered in the sense that the teacher, of course, will give us the guide, will equip us with all the necessary skills that we need. But on the other hand, the student must be able to take control of what it is that they are learning. And in order to do that, they need all those necessary reinforcers to practice this. Incorporating, of course, the 21st century skills, which means that they are not individual tasks, but meant to be activities that require collaboration and at the same time all those skills that are in connection with what it is that they're going to be encountering in the real world. And of course, focusing on the process and the product. That is, not only looking at the end result, which is the submission of the essay, the activity, the project, but also the entire process it took in order to be able to deliver that specific project. So this is why it is associated in this way in the 21st century. So on the other hand, of course, it's no news to you that as teachers, we do have to face these, let's say, difficulties, the challenges that appear here. Time constraints and mixed ability classes, which are all typical problems that all of us have to encounter. When it comes to time, of course, time is never enough. And especially depending on the classroom size, it tends to become even more difficult in that occasion. Also, when it comes to mixed ability classroom settings, this is a typical thing occurring due to the fact that, yes, not all of the students are at the same level, even though they have been enrolled in the same class, in the same level. Of course, there are students who are a bit more into English, which means that they are much more motivated to do activities, the activities that they have been assigned, and those who are, let's say, have other skills that prefer or other subjects that they are more into. So they do not have, let's say, the same urge to be able to respond to those, to do those activities. Of course, as teachers, we need to be facilitators. So for us, it is a challenge to see how we're going to be able to include everybody in the class and try to get them enrolled into what it is that we are going to be doing. So, yeah, it's not about asking them if they're going to be able to achieve something, but the question should be how they can do it. try to find ways to trigger them to be a part of the activity that they have been assigned to do, to challenge them, to find that connection that is going to be able to build a rapport with the student. So not a matter of if, but a matter of how to do it. And this means that we have to go to what we mentioned in the beginning. You as a teacher knows your student better than anyone else does. But in order to become familiar with your student needs, you need to genuinely listen and understand what are their needs. And at the same time, you might need to have, let's say, that scientific inquiry sprout from inside of you. Like a scientist, try to investigate, try to experiment in class. What is it that might be a bit more, let's say, intriguing for a student to participate? So, of course, in order to do this, yes, we need to take into account, become familiar with the characteristics of projects. Since projects, it is what we're going to be focusing on, which is an important component of the series that we are sharing as publications. The characteristics of projects that we're going to be going through can be like a nice path, detectable path, in order to be able to get a more realistic approach to what it is that we are going to be doing, as to make sure that we cultivate those 21st century skills. So I'm going to be gradually revealing these characteristics of these projects, and I want you to, let's gamify this a bit. I want you to try to guess what is the first component of the characteristics of those projects. Driving, it's driving question, the driving question. So, like a scientist, we need to question things, right? So, of course, when we are to get students intrigued in what it is that we're going to be assigning them to do, we need to get them curious about what it is that they're going to have to deal with. They're going to have to do their research for, in order to be able to have this triggering to work on this specific project. So this means that, of course, Google and even more AI can be considered like libraries which are available right now online, right? Especially when it comes to AI, a lot of the things can find their answer, Googleable or not. We got a first question, first of all, if it is something that can be simply put. How can we stop traffic jams? Is this a question which is Googleable? Is it a question that can find an answer? How can we stop traffic jams? Well, I'm pretty sure if you're going to be using an AI tool like ChatGPT, you're going to confront a plethora of answers that are going to be suggesting how we can stop traffic jams. The same goes with what is a proton. Actually, you don't even need to make use of AI when it comes to that. It's all a matter of just typing in this question in Google, like a more of an old school approach, if we are to consider AI like the new tool, which is popular among students. Also, this one, imagine that your school wants to organize a fundraising event. Think of the event and the activities you will include. Now, yes, this might have not been Googleable, because this might have required a lot of the students to try to think based on their own school setting, and it still is the case. But of course, with the arrival of AI and ChatGPT, students can have so many answers when it comes to that. So you see a quote here, which is all about the future is not Googleable. I found that on Google. And well, in order to debate this a bit more, maybe when it comes to AI, that could take a different turn. Still, even though we are living in this age of technology and age where all the answers can be found just scroll down with just a scroll down, there still needs to be a connection with what project task-based learning can offer. And that has to do with all the skills that are being highlighted through activities that reinforce projects and this way of this approach of learning the English language. So what I've done here is I want you to have a look at this Freyer model, which is more or less like a graphic organizer. It's a graphic organizer. So yes, in this age of technology, this is something that we can consider on how we can actually get the students to start to think and organize their ideas. This is why the graphic organizer is so important, because it organizes the ideas, the thoughts, the information that they get from whatever it is that they are watching. So for example, let's say that I want my students to do a project on, let's say, wild animals, right? Wild animals in this occasion. So I will say that I would ask my students to write down wild animals here in the center. So get them to think about how would they define wild animals? Or if I had a video that would be focusing on wild animals, I would ask them to write down the definition, the words that they would pick up about what wild animals stand for. So it gives them the opportunity here to watch the video, but at the same time, take down notes on on what information they extract from the projection of that video is really important for their essay. They write down their definition. Then they also have to pick up some characteristic facts about the wild animals that are being presented. So this is to be segregated in another category. I'm very happy to see so many thumbs up for this, because this is something that I always loved to use with my students in class as well. And it's like a connection with the approach of educating students how to learn also outside of the classroom setting in order to be in sync with what we talked about before. You are asking your students, let's say, to watch a video. This is very much in connection with how we as teachers also learn so many things. Watching YouTube videos, right? This is a modern way of learning so many things. So teaching them how to take down notes is actually a real life skill that you're equipping your students with, and how to be able to segregate the information they get from the projection of that video. So they're not being just passive recipients of the information that just goes in and out the ear. They're actually focusing on getting the niche of what is being talked about in the video. Characteristics of wild animals. In fact, let's say we're talking about tigers. What are some of the examples, or let's put down in the examples, tigers, lions, elephants are being talked about in this specific video. And what are some characteristics about those animals? They probably live in a specific continent, could be one example, or they are facing the danger of being extinct, could be another example. So collecting down facts that are being heard in the video, and they're taking down their notes. And some non-examples of wild animals, that, in other words, animals that are not wild. They can fill in cats, dogs, domestic animals, right, that are not, definitely not considered to be wild. You can also do something like this. turn it the other way around. And actually, I'm going to have you try to guess through a Freire model that I'm going to be projecting right now. I want you to guess which word is being described in the middle. So, for example, here it would have been endangered species in the middle of the circle. Right now, I'm going to give you a definition. Whoop, let me just change slide. A definition. I'm giving you some facts and characteristics that define the missing word here. Some examples of a shape like this and some non-examples of a shape like this. I want you to guess now in the chat box I'm going to be having a look at, to guess which shape it is that I'm talking about. It's definitely not a rectangle, a triangle, and a pentagon. It's a simple, closed, plain shape with straight sides. It's two-dimensional, it's closed, and it's got straight lines, and it's not a circle or a cone. Can you guess which example of a shape it is that I'm talking about? It's not a rectangle, it's not a triangle, it's not a pentagon, but can you guess any other shapes? It's not a square. It could have been a square. It's not a square though, because it's two-dimensional. It's actually a polygon. It could have been a diamond. Yes, that's true. It's actually a polygon that I'm talking about, right? In this occasion. So, because it gives you examples of rectangle, triangle, and a pentagon. Okay, so yeah, this is another way of doing this activity, like a triggering part of working on this. So another characteristic now that more or less is incorporated when it comes to, like, as a characteristic of projects. Let me just start to reveal a bit more, give you ICT. It's ICT literacy. And yes, definitely nowadays it's much more important than ever. Actually, what students have access to through ICT is like a digital, it's like it has sort of, or to a great extent, replaced the good old traditional library that we used to go to when we were students, right? Or those of us who are older, I mean, and used to be students like a couple of years ago. So in this occasion, yes, definitely. I agree with you. Children definitely like activities like this one. And yeah, giving them the opportunity to draw. And you know what? The thing is that there's another way of getting secondary level students to do something creative, because you usually associate, you know, anything that has to do with creativity. Falsely, we consider it as sort of like a primary level activities that are synced with. No, of course not. Secondary level students have to be creative and required to be creative to a great extent also. So thinking about it, it's that what they have in their arsenal when it comes to the plethora of information they can derive from technology can be used for school projects. And this is why projects like the culture page that we see here require from students to do their research on the net. Here, for example, we have a lesson that we are introduced to different type of Englishes, let's say. Can you understand Old English? We are familiar with the fact that, yes, apart from the trademark American and British English, there are other accents as well. There are other I mean, like Australia is an English-speaking country, New Zealand is an English-speaking country, Jamaica is an English-speaking country, South Africa is an English-speaking country. So, of course, this means that there is variation in a lot of these different countries, and of course, they've got their own, sometimes even their own words or dialects, or how they can be segregated from the English words that are broadly used in the UK and the States. So here, for example, they are to be doing this quiz, but the main idea for this project is to get the students to do what? Look at the English words in this box and try to find out what they stand for. So by having a look at this, they are aiming to do their own research by making use of the internet. And of course, this gives them the opportunity to take control of their learning. It is something that is completely different from just focusing on what the book here has as a text. They have to go beyond that book. They have to exploit the content from that book and what is being introduced in order to be able to find the results to this question, this triggering question suggested by this by the book. So another characteristic of project-based learning has to do with project skills. The project skills. So definitely this requires a plan, and it requires some brainstorming and creativity. And yes, we need to do some research, and we have to present the end result. And before we do the presentation, there's got to be a couple of steps. However, it is important for the students to be able to identify the step-by-step process. So they need this step-by-step guide. So, of course, because it is something that students do not, I mean, like in my case, a lot of my students do not learn this in a school setting where they are taught their first language. So in this occasion, we need to take them by the hand and tell them that in order to be able to finish your project, you need to take it step by step. So I will ask you right now, I'm going to give you, let's say, like a minute to try to put this into order. In the chat box, I'm going to be looking at how you're going to be submitting your answers. Please submit them all in one single answer response, not just research, then create, then present, then proofread, and so on. So I'm going to be giving you a minute just to see how you're going to order this step-by-step sequence to the project skills. How are we going to start off? We're going to have to start off, first of all, when we're focusing on doing a project, we need to come up with ideas, right? So this means that we need to do what? Then there is the second step that we need to focus on. Exactly. All right. I can see that we have almost a winner here. You were very close. Actually, it is. Most of everybody got brainstorm in the beginning. That's true. And it's actually plan, research, create, proofread, present. Wonderful, Irina. Wonderful. You were the first to submit the answers here. Excellent. We need to brainstorm, come up with ideas. And this is why it is important to get the students to be able to have their ideas. Thank you very much for a thumbs up for your positivity and your great comments. Overwhelmed? Never, that is. Brainstorming is one of the most important skills because it's not only about thinking, it's also about being able to share your ideas and see how the group is able to manage those ideas. Then plan which is the how is this project going to expand into? And then we're going to have to do the research after the planning of how this project is going to expand. We do our research on the sources that we need to collect and focus on and going to be making use of. Create in order to start to give this product a specific wording as to be able to have something to present. Before the presentation, though, we need to make sure that we go through it again, make sure that everything is intact in order to be able to focus on the final and the final skill, which is presentation. Of course, this is a very good idea. After researching, we might kind of change our plan. Actually, that's something that definitely may occur. And this is why always before we are actually creating some, right in between creating it and before presenting it, we need to proofread. Proofreading might mean that we might make some minor changes, but I totally agree with you that sometimes, yes, we need to research and then we might need to plan again based on something that we discovered as a wonderful source that we just cannot leave out. So of course, there is a step-by-step here, but everything might take its own turn based on the necessity of the project. And of course, based on the dynamics of the team. Because the main idea is to be able to get the students to be able to collaborate on an activity like this and be able to develop something that is going to be able to have a good presentation. And this is why through Portal and Full Blast, for example, we have included this project skills section, like the teacher guiding the students on how to work for a specific project. The hidden message here, though, is that you're actually teaching your students a real life skill. You're teaching them how to interact, how to listen to each other, how to accept ideas from their group mates, how to learn to work together. So it's all those 21st century skills that are put into motion when it comes to an activity like this. And this is why project skills are considered an important tool of that incorporates the 21st century skills that we have been talking about. And this is another 2-sample page of an activity which is of a lesson which is titled Culture Page, a tour of 2 cities. Have a look at this now. If I were to focus on the images here, the text, and the reading comprehension exercise that follows up, it would be just another reading comprehension activity, right? Which is good, it is important. The way that you can exploit this can give you the opportunity and your students to be able to interact on the images that you see here based on the text, ask questions about these 2 different cities, the one that has given the name to the other, which was the first one and which was the one that followed up, let's say, more or less. But here, the creative part for the students is actually this one. Write a blog post. Choose a city and do research on the main sites. Imagine you have recently traveled to that city. Write a blog post about the places you visited. So here, for example, you can see that students are making a connection in what way English can be really important as a way to communicate, as a medium to communicate what I have to present based on the assignment that I had. So it's more or less like giving students the opportunity to understand that, like a YouTuber, like a TikToker, like an Instagrammer, you can have a very brief video that more or less sums up what it is that you have created on. Because sometimes, in order to go back to what we mentioned before, yes, time limits are definitely a difficulty for all of us. This means that if we want to make sure in our 30-student classroom setting that everyone is heard, we can actually have them work on a project like this, but get them to record themselves at home and just send in through Telegram, through WhatsApp, through Viber, depending on what it is that you are making use of, a 1-minute video where they're just going to be quickly presenting their project. A 1-minute video that they will be able to share, or that you will be able to show with the rest of the class. That will make it much more fascinating. And of course, getting students to work on it. Yes, definitely. Time consuming, but it is worth it. Actually, if you are to ask me, as a teacher, I understand the importance of a lot of those transformation activities, drills in general, fill in the blank exercise and all that. Still, I don't want them to take all of my classroom time. I they can actually, there are activities that can be done also, some of them assigned at home, and focus on more creative parts of the lesson when it comes to the classroom setting. Here's another example of how this project can work based on what it is that we talked about before. So brainstorm. What do we mean with brainstorm? You can have students think of the main sites of a city, have them work in groups and exchange ideas. Then the plan. Students choose to write about 2 or at least 2 interesting places, sites, and decide what information they're going to include. Research, making use of the internet about the main sites of the city, and then recommend some safe websites for students to use. Create, doing their blog post and try to make it more appealing as a presentation, and making a checklist to check their answers, to check what it is that they have come up with in order to present, and then the time for the presentation. I have also added this point that in order to make it more interesting, you tell students to talk about place sites without revealing the name of the city they can be found in, and then their classmates have to guess the city. So you can take different twists depending on the lesson. You can gamify it a bit more as to make it a bit more intriguing. So giving information about the city, but trying to make everyone try to guess what city is going to be talked about. So this makes it a bit more fascinating to work together. Exactly. A lot of students like projects because it brings them closer. That's it. That's taking advantage of the dynamics of the classroom setting and what it can offer. This is what we aim. And of course, you know, projects should be another opportunity for diversity. You know, it does not have to necessarily always be a blog. It does not necessarily always have to be just to write down some sentences or just writing down something simple in the research. It could be something like making a poster, you know, and based on that poster, which is going to be mainly made up of visuals, they will have something to present, say, about the collage that they have created. It becomes very, very, very interesting. Let me add, because I know time is running up and I would like to be fair and square with Viktoriia. Also, let me just add the next component here. There's a question. I just do you prefer individual group projects, Jim? I am in favor, Irina. I'm in favor mainly of getting students to work in groups, in pairs, or in groups, because I think it is an opportunity also to exploit exploit all these other skills that they are giving the opportunity. So, for example, you might be having a student who is very good with their presentation and another student who's a bit more shy. This sharing, for example, can give even the shyer student who might have in the beginning let's say, a more contributive role to the creation of the project and not much of a role in the presentation, but not eradicate their role from presentation at all. But this will be like a boost for them to start to feel much more comfortable with presenting as well. So it can be like also an opportunity for students to learn from each other. So this is why I consider that it's always a great opportunity for them to learn. What course book is this material taken from? It's taken from Portal to Series. I'm just in the end of the presentation, I'm going to show you the book, the cover of the book, right? Then this poor Shido will always be, yeah, exactly. No, my point is actually that we don't want them to remain shy, but we want them to take small steps into becoming motivated into presenting. So, for example, in the presentation, they might have a small role in the beginning, let's say, like just out of a 2-minute presentation, they might just say 2 or 3 things like 20-second input, but then this will be like a stepping stone for them to progress gradually. It's all about, you know, giving students the opportunity to make minor steps. We cannot expect, like, say, for example, a D student to all of a sudden become an A student, right? But we congratulate the progress. We want to make sure that we are there noticing their progress. And this is more or less like a stepping stone for the next level. Creative and critical thinking. I'm going quickly through this because I'm running out of time. Creative and critical thinking is associated with these 4 C's that we have been broadly talking about and comprise, of course, the 21st century skills: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity. Actually, this is what we have been talking about. This is the nature, let's say, more or less, of what projects are meant to be about. And this is why, to answer again to the previous question, this is why I think that collaboration is more or less like synonymous, an important component of projects and task-based learning. And have a look at an activity like this. This is something quite contemporary also, because we just had the Olympics a month ago. So here, like, this activity is all about looking at some past records that had been broken in previous marathons or Olympic Games or so on. And now the role of the student is to update this information, and by searching the internet and having a look at what is the latest progress when it comes to a couple of sports, and then intriguing the students to make a video. This is like a modern approach to learning because it is associated with real life. What is going on in real life right now? I mean, like, everybody has a way of presenting their information. Right now, it's more easier than ever, right? To our having these presentations. Thank you very much for your kind comments. Um, my, I'm very thankful for this. Thank you, thank you. Again, the main idea is for us to see how the portal series, for example, here, can serve as a tool to equip you with your learning and with the learning of the students. So have a look at this CLIL project. Understanding rubbish. This is more or less like a science experiment worksheet. So here the students are given with the opportunity not to do based on the module that they have here, the article, another written composition. The main idea is to get the students to discuss about it, have a look at the steps and communicate what they are being introduced to. So one more, which has to do with the most important thing, not the most important thing, the outro, let's say, to a project, which is the presentation skills that are being cultivated. And especially those presentation skills are associated with autonomous learning. This is how we are able to be in touch with what is going on and how we progress learning. Students who are intrigued to do their own research, to make use of the internet, not only for entertainment purposes, but also to discover that, yes, the internet can also have a great contribution to the educational process, is very important. And this is why it's the school's role to familiarize students, to associate this also not only with entertainment, but also with education as well. Because, I mean, the internet, to a great extent, for our students is associated with entertainment. It should be to some extent, but it can also be associated with learning. And it's the school's role to give the students the opportunity to discover this. They don't need always more instruction. Sometimes they just need more support. So this is why, again, the teacher must serve as a facilitator when it comes to getting the students to work together. And yes, the main idea is to be by their side, be their supporter in order to be able to get them to work together. This is a nice acronym that I have turned projects into, and it's more or less what it is that it incorporates. As you consider all those skills that we talked about before: process and product, responsibility, organization, joint effort, engagement, the 4 C's that we talked about, technology, all these are important components, ingredients of what projects have as a role. This is the series portal that you saw the samples from. It's a 4-book series, taking students from beginner's level all the way to B1 level. And of course, these are the components for the students and the teachers. They've got their interactive whiteboards and the teacher's book with a step-by-step guide to all the lessons. Thank you very much for attending this session. This first part of this session was my pleasure to be here. Thank you, Viktoriia. I know I just went a bit beyond, took advantage of the extra time that you had allocated. And I hope once again that you have a wonderful school year. And remember that as MM, we want to be by your side. We want to support you. Our local partners in Ukraine are doing a wonderful job, like always there. I know Viktoriia, for example, is doing a great job. And we will be more than glad to support you throughout this school year. Thank you very much.
Okay, I guess we are ready to continue our conference. So, and we are going to talk about, even not to talk, or not just to talk, but to explore additional authentic materials coming with the textbook portal to English. So, actually, even if you teach English using some other courses from MM publications, this part of the webinar will be useful for you as well. So we'll also discuss how technology and online resources can make teaching English more fun and interesting to secondary school students. And at the end of the webinar, I will take you by hand and show where to find these materials. I will guide you, and you will be equipped with these materials to start using them in your classrooms as you embark the new academic year. So, and again, just a quick reminder about your certificates. You'll get them within 3 working days. I ask you to be patient and check your email box. There will be the letter with the link. So just follow the link and fill in the feedback form, answer the questions, and then you will be able to find and download your certificate. Okay. Yeah, hello. I'm very happy that you are here with me today. Okay, so you can use technology and additional online resources with the new textbook portal to English. MM publications, course books offer this valuable digital resource like interactive whiteboard material. So we say IBB. And when you teach English with the new textbook for secondary school students, portal to English, you can use this digital resource, so the IVV. And these materials are designed to complement your lessons and provide different engaging activities for your students. And the good thing here is that the IVB material doesn't need to be installed, or you don't need to have the internet connection. Like, you may use it in class, just run on any Windows computer and you're ready to use it during your offline lessons. One more thing is that the IVB material doesn't need an interactive whiteboard. So you can use only your computer or laptop. And yes, if you have interactive whiteboard, then you will have more opportunities to work with this interactive whiteboard material, like take notes or zoom in or underline, for example, different parts of the texts or exercises. So you may write on it, but nevertheless, you may use it without interactive whiteboard. Okay, so, and it has the same layout as the paper textbook. Again, it makes it very easy to use. So you've got this smooth transition between printed and digital resources. And depending on their course book, it usually contains the following, like full student's book and workbook, including all audio and answers. Then a digital vocabulary list with the definitions of the words and sample sentences, and audio. There you can find interactive games and some additional videos with worksheets. And there are animated stories. Also, you will find grammar book. And speaking about IVB for Portal to English, here you will have tests, like interactive tests as well. Okay, so okay. Speaking about IVB, so how can it can be used in the class, like for online and distance for offline and distance learning. So many interactive whiteboard activities are fun and engaging, and students can play games or move things around on the screen. And this is good for students who learn by doing, like, or kinesthetic learners. And it keeps them active in the lesson. And using an interactive whiteboard makes things more visual than just reading from a textbook. And this kind of digital resource helps you use pictures and videos to show vocabulary words, to present the new lexical items. So this is good for students who learn by seeing things. And you can make notes, like, let's say, bingo cards on the IVB with new words, and students can listen to definitions or clues and mock the words. And you can add extra notes, like extra squares for similar or opposite words. And you can show a picture or video containing the new vocabulary, and students can then use the words to describe what they see. And there you will find digital vocabulary with the meaning of the words and their pronunciation. So you can play recordings of native speakers saying the new words for students. And students can practice saying the words by repeating after the native speaker. And you can even have students record themselves saying the words and compare them to the recordings that they have listened to. And you can also present a passage with some grammar mistakes and just ask students to work together to find and correct the mistakes on their interactive whiteboard. And again, this encourages critical thinking and peer learning. So they work together and they learn from each other. And you can use IVB to highlight some important words or even phrases in the text. And you can add definitions or pictures to explain things better. So students can work together to find the main points of a text and then write a summary again using the whiteboard tools. Or you can show the beginning of the text and students can think about what might happen next based on what they read. And this promotes critical thinking as well. And you can show a picture and students can take turns, maybe depending their different opinions on the topic. So they can ask questions or share different viewpoints. Just show a picture that makes students think without giving them too much information about this picture. And students can brainstorm and guess what's happening. So after that you can discuss their guesses. And you can show some discussion questions on the whiteboard related to the text or to the exercise. So students can first think about their own ideas and then discuss them with a partner, and after that present to the whole class, like to share their opinion with the rest of the classmates. And speaking about students' digital material, so it is extra tool for the course, and your students can use it absolutely free. Just they need the ISBN taken from their student's book to gain immediate access to this digital resource. And this code, like the ISBN code, this is the unique identifier for them to use this platform, this digital material. So the students don't need to pay more in order to get access to this digital material. And one of the major advantages of these digital resources is that they are web-based. So the students can use them online. And this means there is no need to download or install any software on their device. The students can open a web browser and the ISBN, and they are ready to explore the digital content. And the digital material offers the content that complements the student's book. So the students will find exercises from the textbook along with audio files for listening practice and some videos to enhance understanding, and songs to make learning more fun, more enjoyable. And additionally, there are clear features that integrate language learning with other subjects and interactive activities. to engage students and answers to exercises for self-assessment. And there is a vocabulary list that includes definitions, sample sentences to illustrate usage, and audio pronunciations to help students master the correct pronunciation. And the students can find interactive games that can help them practice vocabulary, grammar, and listening skills in a fun way. So as you can see, the screenshots taken from the students' digital material to portal to English thought. And so the students can read the text, they can listen to it as well, they can do some exercises, and again they can see the answers in order to check themselves, and they can watch the video and do some exercises after watching the video. Okay, and again you can use the ELT platform when you teach English with portal to English. But let's say that this online platform can be used not only just with portal to English, but with other MM publications courses. So this platform give access to even to 3 different types of users. So we've got a supervisor, teacher, and a student. And the supervisors gain complete control, access over their school. And they can activate course books and manage teachers, so they can register them and track students' progress over the school and compare class results, like school results. And speaking about teachers, they assign tasks or tests, manage their classes, monitor student and class progress, and send messages to each student or again to the whole class. And the good news is that you don't need to create students' work because this platform will do this for you, so you can save your time. And speaking about students, they practice at their own pace. They receive immediate feedback, and they can track their own progress and communicate with their teachers. And MM publications, textbooks are often accompanied by online tests. So this is another online platform. And these are multiple choice online tests which follow the structure of the textbook. Again, providing some additional opportunity for revision and self-assessment. So that can be completed at school or at home as a home assignment. And students receive immediate feedback due to automatic grading, and there are detailed like statistics for teachers on each student. And right now, I would like to show you these materials. So I guess you can see my screen, and you can see, just a second, you can see the website. Yes, no? Do you see MM Publications website? Yes, okay, good. And here, so you've got mmpublications.com, and you need to visit students area. First, let's find out more about students' digital material. So you choose this one. And here, as you can see, there are lots of textbooks. So even you can find some additional material for full blast. Just for you to know about this option, new destinations. So it will be really useful for students who learn English using this textbook. Pioneer, a new EP, even Smart Junior for Ukraine. Okay, but today we are talking about Portal to English. So we're going to choose Portal to English. Let's say the third level. And here you are asked to enter the ISBN. Actually, you or your students may find it here, yes, on the back cover of the student's book. So I'm going to enter these numbers without dashes. Okay. Okay. And then you press submit. And here you can see, okay. You can see this digital tool that your students can use. Okay, so let's see. Here, we've got students' book, vocabulary list, and games. So let's see. Students' book. Okay, there are 8 modules. Let it be module 5. And your students may have access to 3 lessons with culture page and interactive activity. It depends on the module. Actually, there can be not like culture page, maybe clear page or song. Okay, let's see. So this is the video. So the students can read. They can listen to the text and they can watch the video.
Culture matters. Tokyo is out of this world. I'm so glad Mum and Dad brought us here on holiday. So am I. Look, I'm starving. How about going to grab a bite? Sure. Why don't we go to that sushi restaurant we saw yesterday?
Okay, just for you to understand how the platform works, so that you can ask your students to work with this material at home. So this is the video.
Tokyo is out of this world. I'm so glad Mum and Dad brought us here on holiday. So am I. Look, I'm starving. How about going to grab a bite? Sure. Why don't we go to that sushi restaurant we saw yesterday? Okay, why not? ear.
Okay, let's go further. Let's see. Then this is lesson B. Again, your students can read the text and they can practice their listening skills.
Messages that made history. Keep it short.
Before we had email and text messages, people used to communicate over long distances by sending telegrams, which used electrical signals sent over a wire.
Okay. Then, lesson C. This is a culture page. And the exercise, for example, they can check their answers just like this. It's pretty easy. Okay. And there is a vocabulary list. There are words for each module. Let's say, again, we need the 5th module. And here they will find all the words from this module. They can listen to the pronunciation of the word.
Advertise.
They can read the meaning. And again, they can read the example of usage of this word.
We decided to advertise our products on TV and on the internet.
Okay. And there are some games. Again, 8 modules. Module 5, okay. So your students read the instructions, and after that they can play and practice their grammar and listening skills. So it's pretty engaging. So you may use this material as well. Just inform your students about this nice opportunity. Okay. Then the next one is this. Speaking about interactive whiteboard material. Again, this tool is for you, for teachers. And here you can see students' book, your book, grammar book material, vocabulary list, games, videos, and worksheets, and tests. So as you can see, again, 8 modules. Here you can see all the pages of the module. And actually everything that you need to conduct the lesson is by your side. So here you can see the workbook and grammar book if you need to switch this bit. So
Module 5. Get the message across. 5A. Vocabulary. Listen. What do the verbs in bold mean? Match them with the pic.
It's very easy to use. And it will be of great use to you. The same is with the workbook. You just share your screen and you're ready to have a lesson with your secondary school students. Let's see, just like this. So again, you can show the correct answers. Yeah. Okay. Grammar book. It is interactive, so your students can read the rules and then have some practice. And videos. So there are 3 kinds of videos. Portal to modules, like the first video of the module, then the video when we present grammar points, and portal to videos. These videos usually come at the end of their topic, at the end of each module. Just for you to read.
Portal to Module 1. Team Life. Hi there, I'm Claire and I'm 16 years old. Here are 5 things you don't know about me. Number 1. I'm really into ice skating. I go ice skating 3 or 4 times a week. There's nothing I like more. Number 2.
Okay, just for you to know that you can use this valuable tool during your lessons. Okay. So, back to my presentation. Okay. And I guess this is it from me. There you can see my contact information, my phone number and email address. Again, you can scan this QR code and it will lead you to our Facebook page, MM Publications Ukraine. So please subscribe. And in order to keep updated, and I would like to thank you. Thank you very much for joining us today. And I wish you a really good start of the school year. Let's your teaching brings fun and pleasure to you. Take care of yourselves, be safe and sound, and see you next month. Goodbye.